Hey guys, Palsteron here, and today let's talk about the what I call everything strat. Now, if you already know the video from Mirage, it's pretty similar to that. However, Mirage is obviously gone, but it's a boss rush strat with all the most efficient and fast mechanics crammed into one. Very often what happens is you actually don't use all your points efficiently and you think, oh, it's not really worth adding anything else, but sometimes it is. So this patch, for example, there's 3 mechanics that are definitely worth doing. The first one is Deli. Deli orbs this patch are getting absolutely chewed out by people, so there's a high demand and they're ridiculously easy to farm. Plus, they add virtually no time to your map. The second thing that a lot of people are already doing is Mercs. Mercs are just extremely efficient, although I will also have a strat without Mercs for either people who just don't want to engage with them or who don't want to die to them here or there. And the third one is Conquerors with destructive play, and the reason is pretty simple. It's just extremely efficient. You get most of your Maven chisels from rotations. You get Orb of Conflicts, which are like a divine each. And in general, they just add monsters to your map, which drop random maps, which give you a little bit of extra. And you can almost self-sustain them with the Interference Scarab, which we're also going to go over. Now, a great thing about this strat, especially since I'm making a video about it, is actually the diversity of loot. Normally, when you have a strat, and it's like a boss rush strat, you go into the map, you do one thing and one thing only. Your loot is very one-dimensional, and it can get inflated, and too many people do it. It's not worth doing anymore. Meanwhile, your Scarabs go up. That does not happen in this strat. From Hunters, Exalted Orbs, to Maven Orbs, to like random Scarabs you're dropping, to 8-mod maps, you're basically dropping all of it. Hence the name. Everything rush. And also on top of that, the Scarabs that we use cannot really get inflated, simply because other than Infamy, which has already been used for a while, which is around 20 chaos or something like that, yeah, it's already back down to like 14. Nothing really can go up here, simply because these are quite common. Now, first thing about your maps, you either roll them for whatever you can run. You're not rolling for anything specific, but it's definitely worth to exalt for 6 modifiers. You can also run your own 8 map modifiers if you want to. It does scale quite well, because we're using Cartography Scarab of Corruption together with Cartography Scarab of Escalation, and that just gives you a ton of extra maps. They're very cheap for what they do. They're just worth it. The next one is the Infamy, which is you're going to run if you want to run Mercs. It's extremely strong. It spawns 2 extra mercenaries, and the infamous mercenaries have way better loot, not even talking about the Mercs themselves. Delirium is an interesting one. I absolutely love going Delirium. So what going Delirium Scarab lets you do is you can actually block them, so you don't drop the Delirium Scarabs, which you really don't want on average. They're just not that good, but you can still get Delirium from the Scarab. This just means it cannot occur naturally. Another upside of not having to take these notes to get it naturally is, once again, you're getting more Delirium Scarabs, which you really don't want to. So you're basically double dipping there. You can completely remove them. And a Scarab slot in this case is pretty cheap. And then Interference, which together with Destructive Play gives you a lot of extra bosses. And what it does is it basically chooses between Synth Boss Rotation or Elder, Guardian, Conquerors, and it picks one of them and they all drop their maps. So for example, if it chooses Conquerors, you're getting a rotation of maps back from them. Now we're using Temporalist Astrolabes right here. So you just apply it and then you just do the same map over and over, which is going to be City Squares. We have the Synthesized Stability Keystone, so you do not have to do different maps. You can still use the Astrolabe. And then you just go. You have to do a full rotation of 4 maps. All the 4 different Conquerors. You can Blessed Orb these. I'm going to show that a little bit later. You click on Maven Influence and then you go. The map itself is pretty easy. There's a few things you have to think about because you have Deli Mirror. So you go in. Once you have the Deli Mirror, you wait for a little bit here. Like I would say 4 to 5 seconds. So you don't get ahead of the Deli Smoke. And so your first pack actually counts. And you want to get to 7 rewards. More on that in a sec. But you want to open these. Charts are pretty good, man. They sell for like 8 to 12 C. So I would definitely do that. Now, when you get to the Merc, there are a few things. We're going to talk about that as well. But you look at it, and most of the time you're going to pick a reward here. Some ones are actually worth to do it. We're not using the full unique Scarab. I don't think at this point it's all that worth it anymore, but you can if you want to hunt for a Mage Blood. But I just do this. Another thing you can do is you can just take the Warrant and then put it into your stash tab for a Divine. I'm currently doing this for a little bit of, I don't know, I'm just trying what sells, because some people just buy them up just for the sake of it. They want to test stuff up. There is a tier 16 map. These are all 8 mods, so they sell for around 6 to 7 chaos. There you go. 4 of them already made like 30 chaos. This Nightmare map will be 8 modifier, and there you go. Just kind of go through. And you can see that actually stuff is dropping here or there. You sometimes drop Scarabs. I don't know why exactly that is versus some of the other maps where nothing drops. Maybe it's like Conquerors actually having a little bit of extra loot. I'm not sure, but we're not exactly like juicing. And at the end, and only at the end, you go to the bosses. You can wait a little bit because the second wave of bosses hits, as you saw right here. Nothing really special. Here we got a Shaper Guardian rotation. So yeah, nothing really there. But sometimes you get the good ones, sometimes you get the bad ones. It is what it is. But you can see a Conqueror map, a Shaper map, they're all 8 mods, which I'm going to show you how to price them a little bit later. Now, when you go up to the boss in here, you release your deli now, and then you do the boss so that your loot already drops while the boss spawns. So you can basically save time, and then when the portal is up, you already looted everything, go out, rinse and repeat. Afterwards, you do the invitation, and here the only thing you have to think of is Alk, Slam, Corrupt. Now, if you have trouble with doing these, you should look at the modifiers and you should chaos spam them and maybe not corrupt them. Corrupt is always worth because it can never go down in quantity. It can only go up on invitations, but the way I do it is just worth. Then you go in and it's pretty straightforward. These will sometimes drop you conflict. I would say it's like a 1 in 10 to get a conflict. Sometimes drops you Maven chisels, sometimes drops you stuff, but it's not a huge part of your returns in general. It's just something you kind of have to get over with to get back to your mapping. So you do Drox, and yeah, we got Hunter's Exalted Orb. Sometimes you get stuff, sometimes you don't. Now, one thing they added this patch is Anomalies. You can see down here, there's a recording, but you can see down here, this is the Gambling District, and this is the Parandus whatever. So in here, you're gonna face Parandus, and you can actually Gamba with him. You can buy stuff for gold. You basically just click through, and if he gives you a Mage Blood or Hand Hunter or anything crazy, then you buy it, or you farm up the gold to buy it. But then the other one is a lot better on average. That's the Gambler's District, which I'm clicking on right here. Now, the Parandus one is kind of a meme, super RNG. The Gambler's District is, funnily enough, super underrated. This one's actually really good. Now, you might know this Strongbox from PoE2, and it's this one right here. Curious Contraption. So, all you need to know about this one is the first 4 clicks are pretty reasonable. The 5th time, not so reasonable. So you click it for the first time, it costs you a little bit, and then the cost goes up over time. So for example, I click it right here. I don't remember what outcome this was. It is still RNG. Sometimes you get like 5 divines. Sometimes you get a portal scroll, right? 4 clicks is reasonable. So 1, 2, they got like 15 stack decks, whatever. It's like 45C. 3rd time, and you can see Valdo's Puzzle Box, that's pretty average. And then on the 4th click, you can see it costs like 200K. This one, if you have any sort of goal spared up, you should always click. Otherwise, you can always click the lockpick right here and just try your luck. But I would click the 4th one as well and then do the lockpick on the last one. So in this scenario here, I got nothing here, and then the 4th one is the lockpick. Now, these are free. They just happen whenever you complete all the bosses. So they give you like 1 to 2 divines extra, which does add up over time quite a bit. Now, what this also does is it makes the strat a little bit more exciting in between not predictable rewards. You will have tinks, but there's nothing like out of the ordinary that's going to drop. These are pretty cool. Now, this is the Atlas tree. It will obviously be linked down below in the description. We're going for map nodes. We're going for blocks. You don't drop too many Scarabs, but you do actually get quite a few because of the random modifiers that you will get on the Astrolabe. You get like increased Scarabs found. You get flat Scarabs dropped from bosses, which count for almost all of them that you're spawning. So that's pretty good. We're blocking some of the less desirable Scarabs. Other than that, map nodes, you go up, you will see some of the mercenary nodes. We're not taking anything here because we're already guaranteed to have Infamous. And the problem is if you reduce any of these, you will get less kineticists. Over here, we get natural chance for Mercs so that we do not have to use the Scarab. It also means that we're going to drop more mercenary Scarabs, which is great. Deli nodes, we only have the extra Deli Orb chance and the extra rewards. Nothing crazy. Like I said, you want to release it after you killed the boss and you want to kill the boss at the end. So you get the +1 count. The other reason why you have to kill the bosses at the end is because it matters how many mobs you killed before in order to spawn the max amount of extra bosses with Destructive Play. As for rewards, you will get a lot of stack decks from the Mercs. You will get not the most amount of chisels, but an okay amount of chisels. You'll get quite a few Orb of Conflicts here or there. You'll get the exalted orbs from the conquerors themselves. You'll get a few astrolabes, although not a lot, because you cannot drop them in the maps because you're using an astrolabe. If you don't know, if you're using astrolabes, you can't drop them, but you will get them here or there from the invitations. The vault rewards will give you quite a few divines, and they will also give you Orb of Remembrance, which if you only have shit rewards is usually the best thing to take. You're getting a bunch of Valdos, you're getting a crap ton of Delirium orbs right here. Now, I personally think it is worth to convert them. If you don't know, at the current prices, it is worth it. Was it convert? No, it was just Delirium Orb, right? You can actually use blue juice to convert them, but this is up to the economy. You will get an absolute crap ton of maps from this strat, not just 6 mod maps, but also Elder maps and Shaper maps and whatnot. Now, in terms of Elder and Shaper, they do actually sell differently if you have 6 mods. So if you ID them, it will have an 8 modifier right here. This is important to check. That's all you have to check. If it says 6, 7 chaos, whatever, you can just mass price them. The way to actually do it is if you have a full inventory, I wouldn't just do it like I do here. I was being a little bit lazy, but after you have a full inventory, you just go to your genie and you click it in here. Now, if you do not know, for example, if you price a lot of these, you can do 7 chaos orbs and then just right click all of the other ones in, and they're going to retake the same price. You just do this for however many you have, and then you put the rest into your stash. Now, you're going to drop a ton of Nightmare and a ton of Origin maps. This is also from the Interference Scarab because it drops a lot of bosses. For some reason, they do actually give a lot more. If you're pricing these, especially the tier 16 originator maps, some of these rolls with a ton of extra currency or a ton of extra scarabs can be worth upwards to a divine. If you know how to price these, then fine. Also depends on the meta. The way I do it usually is I click all of them in for a divine. I price them, literally all of them for a divine. And then after a day, maybe 3 of them or 10 of them will have sold, however many you have. And then I just put them out and I reprice them at 49C, and then I reprice them again at like whatever the lowest is, like 20C. One thing to also remind you is check your charts that you have right here. You're going to farm quite a few of them. The only thing you have to know is that it doesn't show up in Wealthy Exile. So it will, and these are like 10C each minimum. Now, if they have a yellow name up here, you can see the white names here, which is like Seafloor Ridges, whatever, Abyssal Wastes, Abyssal Plains, whatever. If it's a yellow name, it could be worth more money. You can currently, I think, not price check it here directly, but you can type them in trade. So for example, this is an Anchor Fields, which is one of the more expensive ones, if not the most expensive one at this point, actually. So all you have to do is type in Anchor Fields, area level 83, and then there you go. This one currently sells for around about a divine. And if you just want to do the normal ones, Sandy Seabed is worth more than the other two. So all you have to do right here is type in Sandy Seabed chart, and then you go for, once again, area level 83. Make sure you have that, and then you can see how much it sells for. If you scroll down right here, you can see there's a few baits at the start for people underpricing them, and then they started around about 9. If you have a lot of them, you can usually also price them a little bit higher and do the same thing with the other ones. Now, in terms of what people are looking for on Mercs, this takes a little bit of knowledge about Luminary. This is a very, very TLDR right here. There's a lot of other Mercs that also sell, but Combatant, Kineticist, and Many Shot will sell. These are some of the biggest ones that are being played right now in the meta, but there's also stuff like Cruel Mistress that is finding a lot more thing right here. So the TLDR is this changes constantly, and I'm linking to Sushi's spreadsheet down below. He's constantly updating it. Now, in terms of price checking Mercs, there's this really cool warrant price checker that somebody in the PU community made, which has helped me quite a bit. I'm currently doing the meme where I'm selling a bunch of whatever Mercs for 1 div, just trying to see what people really want. So for example, you press Control-C on the warrant, and you can go here and say paste warrant, boom, and it's in there. And it will tell you, for example, 8C. Probably not a good take, but then you can refine here. So it takes some of the most interesting supports and it takes all the skills that you have. But if there is an interesting one, for example, if it said like 2+2 divines here, you can click on it. And at the end, when you're done selecting, you can do search on trade and it will literally copy paste it over. And if you go for show filter, you can also see what they're searching for, so you can kind of refine your own searches. Now, talking about selling scarabs, one thing that can help you is this tool right here, which is the Scarab EV that will determine at what point is it worth to 3-to-1 scarabs. If you didn't know, if you have 3 of the same scarab, you can vendor it and you get a mystery new scarab. Wow. And on average, this is actually quite worth it because of the discrepancy between scarabs. And to make this a lot easier, there's this website right here, which determines where it's worth it. And then you just copy paste this auto regex in, and all the ones that are highlighted are worth to vendor. Now, I'll link my filter profile down below. The one I'm currently using is the strict one. I have a lot of things hidden, so I don't have to constantly backtrack because it's just not really worth it. I have everything like chaos, for example, hidden. If that is too crazy for you, then go for whatever filter you want. But this one is made for this farm. So if you want to check that out, check that out. Other than that, feed your mappers with brick 8 mods. So you will drop a lot of these 8 mods shaper maps. Let's just take one out of here. These are, I mean, you can sell them for like 4 or 5 chaos, but you can also just feed them into your mercs and you can get extra frags over in King's March. Same, by the way, goes for these 8 mod elder maps. Okay, everything else I think I've already shown. Merc nodes, feed your mappers with, okay, so Scry next up. This one is up to you. I personally have Arcade Scried. The Light of Meaning card is actually, it doesn't drop like a lot, but I already have a set, for example. This is after like 2 days of farming. This is not that important. You can scribe whatever you want. It's not a super ground loot heavy strat. Then afterwards, the Awakening Scarab. So this is an interesting one. If you know what you're doing and you're somebody who's scouting prices all the time, the Awakening Scarab basically adds a random Maven invitation to the map, and they drop a lot, and I mean a ton of Maven chisels. The problem is these go up, down, constantly. For example, when I did this strat yesterday, Awakening Scarabs were at like 90 chaos. I think right now they are at a absolute low again. So it completely depends on how much chisels are right now and which are being used. If you know what you're doing, you can easily incorporate them into the strat. Oh, then also, if you're a Luminary, you should take the Merc, deals 100% more damage. You probably already know about this, but just in case you don't, so you have an easier time against Mercs. And another good trick, often you forget about the Vault right here. When you have everything completed, then you get the Vault. So this is how it would look like. Egan will have an exclamation mark on top. Now, first thing is put Egan right next to your portal. Otherwise, you will forget about it. I can guarantee you. And then make sure that you click Egan, you say open memory vault. And while it's loading, already put on the next astrolabe. That way, it's pretty damn hard to forget. And while you're doing that, so you go in here and usually it's like I said, this is the best of the worst rewards, the Orb of Remembrance. And on average, you're going to get like 1 to 1.5 divines back. Sometimes you get a fracturing orb, sometimes you get a puzzle box. Also, make sure that you constantly check down here. It does tell you when you have an anomaly, but just make sure they're right down here to sometimes have an eye on whether you have Parandus or your gambling district spawned, because when it's already spawned, you cannot spawn it again. Now, at the end here, if this content is too hard for you, there's 2 things you can do. The first one is you release before you get to the bosses in terms of Delhi, right? You click the button around here and then you don't have Delhi bosses to fight against. That's totally fine. You'll get a little bit less Delirium Orbs overall. It's still worth running Delhi. The only thing you definitely want to do is respec out of Imagined Pursuits. And the second thing you do is, instead of the one that I'm running, is run this alternate strat where you just spec out of all the mercenary stuff. And also down here, you can see that there's no more Infamy Scarab, so you're saving 20C on not having to run that. And instead, you will be going for a multitude. So you lean a little bit more into maps. So you get extra 8 mod maps, which means a little bit more clicking for selling. You're a little bit closer to what a map mod strat would be. Kind of like last league, if you played something similar to what I posted last league. And you just click all the map nodes right here. And on top of that, I had 3 points left, so I took Amplified Artifacts. This strat is also totally fine, but not as strong as if you incorporate Mercs, and I would highly recommend personally to just take the dive and just learn it. And yeah, that's about all I got. All the links I talked about in this video are down below in the description. This has been a pretty damn fun farm while I'm waiting for the patch notes and see what's going to happen to the deep. If you guys are still playing, give it a shot. Maybe it's fun for you. Has been really good returns for me personally. But yeah, with that being said, since I still have a slogan, see you next time.